A new arena fighter based on a popular anime can only mean one thing. Another mediocre game trying to cash in on fans' love for the series by dishing out something cheap because the IP will carry the sales no matter what. Well, lately arena fighters have made immense progress by trying to make battles more skill-based and giving depth to their mechanics. One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows, is not one of those games making progress. In fact, it's one of those games giving arena fighters a really bad reputation. And as far as the game being mediocre, well, I wish it was at least mediocre. My name's Globku and this is my review of One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows. Full disclosure, this game was sent to me by Bandai Namco ahead of its release so I could bring you this review. Not that anyone will say that has affected my score at the end of this, but if I must disclose this on positive reviews, I must also disclose it on less positive reviews. When you first launch the game, it immediately puts you on a character creator. Here is where you make your hero. The options at the start are quite limited, but the editor is pretty good. In addition to editing your face, hairstyle, and outfits, you can also add up to 8 accessories and fully customize them. You can change their individual colors, their sizes, their position, rotation, and make some really crazy characters. And then, that's where the fun ends. The game puts you on this hub and you run around from place to place completing missions. There's a lot of running around, and you can jump I guess, but no sprint button, no fast travel, just this slow jogging. And as you complete missions, you get XP for a few things. This game is more of an RPG than I first realized. When you level up, you get points, and you can spend those points on different stats as you choose. You also get experience points for your battle type. At first, you will only have a single battle type, but you'll unlock more as you play, allowing you to wield weapons, robot backpacks, and more. These all sound great, but they all kind of play the same. When you first equip one of these new battle types, you will only have one single special move, and as you level it up, you unlock additional special move slots as well as new combos. But again, they all kind of play the same. You can also gain contribution points, which unlocks more missions, and certain missions also raise your hero rank, so you can go from a C rank hero to an S rank hero. It takes about 2 hours of gameplay to even unlock the online modes and the online lobby, which makes this whole game feel like it's primarily a single player experience with multiplayer tacked onto it. And at first, not having a lot of options for customization did feel like an odd choice, but in the end, it made for a good progression system. Every time you complete a mission, you unlock something, potentially something new for your character. There are stores where you can buy accessories and new outfits for money that you gain in missions, and if there's anything good about this game, is the character customization. I had a lot of fun making new versions of my hero, the Bushman, and the more I played, the more options I had and the more comfortable I was with the editor, so I was able to make better and better characters as time passed. You also have a room in this world, it's kind of your house. You can customize it and unlock new items for it, but the room itself has no purpose. It's just there, and you can make it pretty if you want, but don't expect any bonuses from it. It was fun from a role-playing standpoint. Every time I ranked up as a hero, I would treat myself and buy new things for my little room. Other than that, it has no impact on gameplay. And the bigger problem is, to get these rewards, you have to play the game. And the game's not fun. Let me elaborate. During this entire game, you'll be running around. There's a lot of running around. If this isn't for you, which it shouldn't, then you can forget about this game already. You accept a mission, there's a little dialogue cutscene, usually not voice acted. Even a lot of the main missions are not voice acted. And then you fight a couple of monsters and the mission's done. Rinse and repeat. Occasionally they have a quest for you to deliver something, and that's just more running around. These missions are all the same. I haven't seen such lazy mission design in a very long time. Not to mention, characters take a while to load in. Sometimes you run to a quest and you have to wait for the NPC to pop up, which in such a small world and traveling at this speed shouldn't be an issue on a PS4 Pro, which is where I play the game. The whole story took me around 11 hours to beat. At first, I did some side missions, then I got bored and mainlined the story whenever possible, until the story said, no, you gotta do some more side missions to progress. It gates your way, forces you to do the repetitive side content, so if you want to complete everything, it will probably take you longer, but no matter how many hours it has, the game really doesn't have much to offer. It's the same content from start to finish. The story of this game retells the events of Season 1, but with your avatar at the center of it all. You encounter Saitama along with Genos. You show up on the same missions that they show up in the anime, while at the same time doing your own thing, completing side missions, helping out different civilians, protecting them from robbers and monsters, though this formula doesn't always work. First of all, you can select a voice for your character, who usually talks a lot during combat.
Can you handle this? Is this the location? Close! You'll regret underestimating us heroes!
But then when it's time for a cutscene, your character doesn't talk, and it's a big disconnect.
Hey, do not even think about jumping ahead of me in line to become Master's disciple. Master does not need any more than one disciple, and that one is I, Genos. Now leave.
Because you know the character isn't mute, they clearly speak a lot in a fight, so why aren't they replying when someone asks them a question? The answer is because it'd be too expensive to have every single voice option say something during the story missions. But I feel like there are ways to work around this. Maybe have some minimal replies or voice lines like yes, no, and then write a script around that. But either way, whenever you see something new, something that wasn't in the show, it is evocative of One Punch Man, but the jokes they make are the same as the show. A monster shows up, he ate a lot of fish, then one day he woke up and he was the fish man. They tell this same joke over and over, and while I love the comedy of One Punch Man, the humor in the game simply doesn't land like the anime or manga did. Simply because we've all heard these jokes before, they're the same jokes. On top of that, some of you may have seen these cutscenes in trailers. They show up in the game's opening title and nowhere else. This level of quality in cutscenes is not present in the actual game at all. The cutscenes during the game have a very budget look to them, and a lot of them seem unfinished, with occasional glitches occurring. And while you have the options for both English and Japanese voices, the audio is terrible. You can hear the audio clipping so many times during cutscenes, and even during gameplay.
Human beings are strong because we have the ability to change ourselves!
It's like they captured the audio wrong and then didn't bother to do it again. Even the voice acting performance seems terrible. The Japanese voice acting not so much, but maybe that's because I'm not fluent, but the English voice acting, it sounds like no one really cared. Sound design itself is unpleasant. During battles, special moves and heavy hits sound way louder than the rest of the game. It's obnoxious, doesn't sound mixed in the slightest, and if this was a Little Indie Studio's first game, it'd be understandable, but we're talking about Spike Chunsoft and a full-priced game. This level of production quality is simply unacceptable. It's baffling how something like this made it to the final game. And then to top it all off, we have the actual combat. Even if everything else didn't exist or was actually good, this arena combat system is probably the worst I've ever reviewed. Characters have light and heavy attacks that can perform small combos with them. They also have special moves and an ultimate. Well, at least some characters have an ultimate, because others don't even have them. Why? No reason. They just don't have ultimates. The main problem with this combat system is how slow and sluggish it feels. And I believe I have found the three main culprits for this feeling. First of all is the movement. The time it takes for your character to start dashing or simply moving makes this game feel heavier than it should. Second, hit stun. When you hit a character, they stay in this stunned animation for way too long, allowing you to drop and pick up combos without your opponent being able to do anything. And third, knockdown. Once a combo ends, usually your character is knocked down to the ground. The time it takes for your character to get up again is way too long, which leads to you just running up to them and waiting over and over and over again. In my opinion, this is why the game feels slow, and this will take the fun out of the game for anyone in a very few matches, whether you're someone looking for something competitive or just casual fun. On the competitive side, if you're a fan of arena fighters, you should have given up on Spike Chunsoft a long time ago. That's just not the type of game they make. This game still has an escape mechanic and gimmicks that will make any fight unfair. If you have stamina, you can time your block to vanish while getting comboed and get a free punish on your opponent by throwing an ability that takes over half their health bar. Mid-battle, random items will fall from the sky and they usually land next to one of the two opponents, giving them a buff or recovering their health. So no, One Punch Man is not a competitive game by any means, but it also fails as a fun, casual game due to its sluggishness. It's just not fun to play. When fighting the CPU in missions, the AI is also terrible. It became easy to predict what they would do most of the time. For instance, if you're close to them after knocking them down, they will always try to attack, so it's easy to punish them. And sometimes they just malfunction. Literally, they just run around doing nothing from across the stage. And that didn't help the fun of these missions at all. A lot more can happen during these matches. Random events that you might recognize from the show can pop up, like getting stepped on by the giant from episode 1. A random hero is fighting nearby, and for some reason he attacks one of the players. It's the type of randomness that you find in a lot of party games, only in this case, most of these events knock you down, and knockdowns take a really long time, so they end up being more annoying than fun. Oh, and then there's the whole Saitama gimmick. Saitama kills opponents in one punch, and he cannot take damage. Usually it takes Saitama a bit to arrive in battle, so you have to stall until he gets there, but a lot of missions just have him available from the start, so you sit through a cutscene, a loading screen, punch the opponent once, and you're done. Great mission design, guys. It would be understandable if this was done once, as a joke, but they do it all the time during missions. The whole game seems to scream at you, hey, remember this thing from One Punch Man? Wasn't it funny? Yeah, it was. It's not anymore. I've seen the joke already. Why are you telling me this again? It's so confusing. Now, even though I don't think the online is the main part of the game, it is a part of the game and we gotta talk about it. First of all, when you're doing side missions, the game randomly pulls other players' created avatars into battle. This isn't a co-op mode or anything, it's just characters created by other players with all their stats and all their moves that you can use in missions. The characters the game feeds you seem to be random, and sometimes they're brand new characters with very low stats and you're doing a high level mission, which makes them useless. You have a training mode where you can practice some combos before you go online. It has some basic settings like making your opponent block or jump, nothing too in depth, but it's nice to have these options. And then there are a few online modes. Avatar Ranked Battle, Team Ranked Battle, and Free Battle. In Free Battle, you can play against a friend or enter matchmaking. You can set custom rules like random events happening or not, is Saitama banned, what's the timer, etc. And yes, after you finish a match, there's a rematch button. They have learned their lesson. Next is Avatar Battle, which always starts as a 1v1 battle of your avatar versus your opponent's avatar. These battles occur under the arrival rules, meaning other avatars could arrive mid-match. You don't choose which avatars arrive or how many, they just do. Also, this game mode takes your character level and stats into consideration, so unless you're high level, get ready to be destroyed in a couple of hits. Finally, there's Team Ranked Battle, where you can pick any 3 characters and take them into battle, and Saitama can be picked in Ranked. There is no ranked option without Saitama. The only way to not have Saitama is Avatar Battle or Free Battle with a custom rule. Saitama will arrive on the battlefield later, but since this game is so slow, wasting time is not a problem. On any of these game modes, the connection to your opponent varies wildly. For the most part, the netcode seems solid, but in these casual games, what usually happens is that a lot of players are playing on Wi-Fi, which can make the experience super unstable. And while you're waiting for a match, you can't do anything except for training. You cannot roam the city, you cannot do missions, you just have to sit there in the lobby waiting, which in a game that focused so much on single-player content is definitely an odd choice. We're closing this review with a few thoughts on presentation. I've already talked about sound design and voice acting. They're really bad. The soundtrack is decent. Sometimes it feels like it doesn't really fit what you're doing, but it's not terrible. And then visually, I don't like the look of this game at all. From the stage design to character models to cutscene animation, it all looks fine, but it also has this low production look to it that is unacceptable in a full-priced game like this one. I like the cutscenes on the title screen, but they're not in the actual game, so I feel like I can't even praise that. Presentation-wise, this game leaves a lot to be desired, and usually, this is one of the strong points when selling an anime game. It's weird how cheap and bad this looks. With all that said, it's time to score this game. If you're new here, we use letters to score our reviews. F and E are the bad games, D and C are okay, B and A are the good games. And this is my score for One Punch Man, a hero nobody knows.
素晴らしい。強大すぎる俺のパワーを見せる時がついに来た。そうか。
The character creation and customization save this game from the lowest possible score, because outside of that, it has no redeeming qualities. Poor visuals, slow combat, and boring mission design make this a hard pass unless you want to spend $60 just to create your own hero. And there you have it. 2 hours into this game, I stopped being curious about what else it had to offer and just wanted to drop it, but someone had to review it, so I soldiered on. If you've played this game, let the people know what you think of it in the comments down below. That way, if someone comes to this video looking to buy it, they have my opinion already, but they can read yours as well. And as always, thank you very much for watching. My name is Globku, and I'll see you next time. Boy.